Alright guys, I'm finally doing a review of Captain America The First Avengers, which is still playing it in theaters and is doing quite well at the box office here at home and overseas, which is good to hear. And it's also doing good with both fans and critics alike, which is also good to hear. I didn't really expect Captain America to do so well with all the opposition that was against it when it came out. And surprisingly it did well. And again, I'm just surprised all around in general because I honestly thought that Captain America was going to suffer the same fate as Green Lantern did. Now, for those of you who have not seen Green Lantern, guys, that film was a mega flop. I mean, I haven't seen the movie yet, but it flopped at the box office, and so far, a lot of fans and critics that I know do not really like the film. I'm not gonna say if I like it or not because I haven't seen the film yet, and I do plan on doing a review of it. Hopefully, when it comes on DVD or something. Unfortunately, I don't have the money right now to go see it in theaters. So basically, either that onto my review of Captain America: The First Avengers. Alright guys, one of the main things I like about this film is the fact that this film focuses on the human aspects of what makes Captain America a great hero. I'm glad that this film focuses on the fact that Captain America is a hero because of his selflessness, his heroism, his bravery, his courage, and most importantly the fact that he's a good man with a good heart and a good soul. And he's willing to do what he has to do to keep America and the world safe from whatever evil that's out there. And in this case, it's the Nazis and the 100 soldiers and the Red Skull. And I'm glad this film really explores that and tries to avoid the whole, patriotism and the whole sense that Captain America is just a great hero simply because he loves America. I'm glad that the film avoided that because I don't think this film would have done great if it had the whole patriotism theme in it throughout the whole 2 hours of the film. Thank God they avoided that and just focused it on the human aspects of what makes Captain America a great hero. And another thing I like about this film is the action scenes. The action scenes are well directed, well choreographed, and just well shot. You don't have to worry about any of the spinning around camera crap that you see in most films today, or bad lighting, whatever the case may be. In this film, you see everything that's going on between Captain America fighting the 100 soldiers or the Red Skull. I'm glad that they did that. And I love the ending, well not the ending, the final duel between Captain America and the Red Skull. Well shot, well directed. It actually feels like an old school brawl between the hero and the villain. Just basically seeing the hero and the villain go at it with each other, to the bitter end. And I'm glad they actually did that in this film. I really love the fight scenes in this film. I consider the fight scenes in this film to be possibly one of the many best action scenes and fight scenes in comic book film history. Another thing I like about this film is the vibes, the whole 1940s World War II vibes that this film gives out, because it actually takes you into the lifestyle people lived during World War II in the 1940s, and I actually like how this shows like the entertainment people had back then. It shows the sacrifice men and women were making to fight against the Nazis and the fascists and the Japanese during World War II. And another thing I like is the USO scene. I think they actually did a good job of filming the USO scene, even though it's cheesy as hell. Seeing Chris Evans coming out there with the original Captain America outfit, seeing all the ladies singing and dancing, the drum band and everything. But it doesn't bother me because that's the type of entertainment they had back then in the 1940s. People had back in the 1940s. Another thing I like about this film is the pacing of this film. The pacing for me is very well done. There's not a moment in this film I could say that I was bored at all. This film kept the whole wagon going from the beginning to the end, moving things and keeping it interesting along the way. I think the writers and directors for this one, they did a really good job of the whole pacing of the film and keeping it interesting, having the action, keeping everything going. It's just really good. I love the pacing. I can't say there was a moment in this film that I was bored at all. And another thing I like, I'm gonna try my best to pronounce this man's name. So I'm not really good at pronouncing people's names, guys. It's Hugo Weaving's character. Hopefully I pronounced it right. You guys can correct me on that. Hugo Weaving's character, he plays the Red Skull, and he was the villain of the film. And he did a great job playing a bad guy who was just vicious, merciless, and just plain ruthless. It was just an all-around mastermind villain who was hell-bent on getting the powers of a god so he can basically destroy the world. And how does he get the powers of God? He basically gets from this device called the Cosmic Cube. Hopefully, I said that right as well, which plays a significant part in the comic books as well. If I remember correctly, in the Captain America the storyline called the Winter Soldier, the Cosmic Cube played a big part. It basically gave the user the power to do many things, especially destroy cities, worlds, send one's consciousness into the mind of another. It was a very powerful weapon, and Hugo Weaving basically gets his hands on the Cosmic Cube when he goes to Norway in the beginning of the scene, in the beginning of the film. And once he gets the cube, he basically shoots the poor man after he gets what he wants and orders his troops to fire on the whole village, wiping everything out. Now that right there, guys, tells you, this guy tells you that the Red Skull is not a man you can bargain with, reason with, let alone trust on his word. Red Skull will do anything he can so he have the powers of the god and one day rule the world. In the comic books and in this film, he does that, and I loved it. I mean, the only thing I'd say though, Hugo Weaving does a great job playing the villain, but there's so much more they could have done to make him shine in this film. I'm not saying he's possibly one of the greatest actors to play one of the greatest villains in the film, because again, he did a great job, but he's no Heath Ledger now. He's no Heath Ledger with this when he's playing the Red Skull, but he did a good job. I liked him. Hopefully, we'll see him again in another Captain America film or the Avengers, because they still haven't said who really is the villain other than Loki from Thor. But either way, I liked him as the Red Skull. And hopefully, we'll sorry guys, I had to cut out there for a moment. To start off where I left off, hopefully we'll see the Red Skull again in another Captain America film or the Avengers 1 and 2. I love this character. He was great, and hopefully the same actor that played Red Skull will play the Red Skull again in the future. Now, on to Chris Evans. I think he did a great job in betraying. I think he did a good job of betraying Steve Rogers and Captain America's character. I have nothing bad to say about Chris Evans in terms of his acting or him embodying the role of Captain America. He did a great job, and this film could not have come to life if he didn't do his part in acting and studying the character and doing his best to embody Captain America on the big screen, and he did just that. I had my doubts about him, after he played the Fantastic Four, and that wasn't all that much of a great film. He played as the Human Torch in that film, and that wasn't all that great. Even though he was probably a good thing in the film, because he made that film watchable for me. Because everything else in the Fantastic Four film for me was bad, but it was the best thing in the whole film. And either way, I didn't really wanted him to play Captain America because I know it would have been great if somebody else would have had the chance to play Captain America. Either way, I regret the decision. He did a great job with the film, and for me, he nailed the role the same way. Michael Keaton embodied the role of Batman in Tim Burton's Batman film back in the 80s. The same way Tobey Maguire embodied Peter Parker in Spider-Man in the Spider-Man films. The same way Robert Downey Jr. embodied Tony Stark in Iron Man films. I think Chris Evans did a great job playing Captain America, and hopefully we'll see him again in another Captain America film. I know we're going to see him in the Avengers film, but I would love to see another Captain America film with his own storyline, and hopefully having the Winter Soldier story arc to it, because the Winter Soldier is possibly one of the many best Captain America storylines I consider of all time. I know I haven't read all the Captain America comic books, but for me, I consider the best out of all of them, because it actually had everything that makes it not only a great comic book, but a spy thriller. I love stuff like that. I love all that espionage and spy stuff. So hopefully we'll see a Captain America film with Chris Evans in it, where he's playing Captain America again in the Winter Soldier story arc to the film actually. Either way, I have nothing else to say about this film. I thought this film was great. It was a great comic book film. It does have its flaws. It's somewhat undeveloped in areas that it shouldn't be, like the Howling Commandos. There should have been more scenes between Captain America and the Howling Commandos and them fighting the Nazis and the 100 soldiers and the Red Skull. And there should have been one more scene where we saw Captain America and the Red Skull fight each other one more time before the final duel they have near the end of the film. And it would have been great. They would have actually gave a brief explanation to how Captain America developed his hand-to-hand combat skills, his ability to throw knives, all that stuff. It would have been great if they briefly explained it. No need to actually go super into details on how Captain America developed all his combat skills like Batman Begins did in that film. It was almost like a half an hour of seeing Batman develop his martial arts skills, but they even explain how he got his detective skills in that film. That's one thing I didn't like about Batman Begins. But either way, I'm not trying to get into the whole view on Batman Begins and talking about Captain America. But basically, it would have been great if they briefly explained Captain America's skills, his hand-to-hand combat skills, him being able to throw knives, his marksmanship skills, all that stuff. It would have been great to briefly explain that. Either way, I give this film 4 out of 5 stars. I consider it one of the many best comic films ever made, right next to the first Spider-Man film, the first Iron Man film, even close to Batman Begins. So hopefully you guys like this review. This is my first review, so hopefully it was okay or pretty good. So guys, please don't be harsh on me over this. Again, this is my first review. This is a learning experience for me. So basically, you guys like my review, and hopefully what I said will encourage you guys to go see the film because it actually is a good to great all-around comic book film and deserves so much more than what it's getting. I mean, it really does deserve a sequel. It really does. It was a great all-around comic book film. So basically, again, you guys will like this review, and I'm gonna do another review very soon. So take care, guys. Good luck. And be safe.